First of all, I want to make it very clear that the safety precautions we took in my garage are not the type I would take in shop. Not only is there not a cover on the blade, but also I didn't tie my hair back, because honestly, quarantine is making me consider cutting it off anyway. After cutting the plexiglass into 1 foot by 1 foot squares, we moved on to cutting the base. We were going to use the chop saw, but the base was just too wide for it. Next, using the router table my dad attached to his table saw, I put a decorative edge on the base. After that, I used the bandsaw to cut the pieces where the cube was actually going to sit. Sanded them down, and then was back to the plexi. The table saw blade was a little wobbly, so we used a belt sander to even out those edges. And then sanded them down by hand even more because the belt sander melted the plastic. We tried to balance it together to get a nice visual, and this is the picture we got. Next, I scored the bottom piece to account for the width of pieces around it. We taped it together with painter's tape and then got to gluing. Each edge got a bead of Gorilla Super Glue gel, and then we waited 24 hours for it to cure. The next day I put the base together by pre-drilling the holes and then screwing the 3 pieces together. Then I stained the base and sprayed it to set and finish. Now that it had been 24 hours, I took the painter's tape off and sanded off any excess glue, leftover tape, or uneven edges. The next day I put rubber pads on the bottom of the base along with in the notches where the cube would sit. In hindsight, it would have been best to attach the tubing before assembling the cube, but we measured it out on an extra square of plexiglass instead. After marking and drilling staggered holes on an angle throughout the system, it was time to glue it down. It gets hard to see here, but we used a wood block and painter's tape to guide where the glue should go, laid it down 1 row at a time, and then went back to glue the curves. Using multiple different sized drill bits, a hole was drilled in the side so that the tube laid nicely. We used an air compressor to get the plastic that was left inside from the drilling, and then the tubing was done. I peeled off the rest of the plastic covering and wiped down any of the excess glue. It looks so clear! It's a cube, officially! Ta-da! After that, we held our breath to see if it was waterproof and if the tubing system actually worked. And it looks like it held up pretty well. I filled the bottom with rocks for filtration and added some activated charcoal on top so any excess water would stay fresh. I filled the next layer with dirt and buried the end of the tube. Last but not least, we replanted some of my succulents and decorated the scene. And here it is in action, raining on the garden. And here's my final product. I'm actually pretty proud of how it turned out, all things considered. It's super cute to look at, and it was a lot of fun to make.